Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Not the Girl Next Door. I'm your host, Meg Reynolds, and the question I'm going to ask today has been plaguing us since the 2000s. How do you lose the wrong guy in 10 days? Now, of course, you can tell your friends about him. You can save his number in your phone. You can tell your mom about him. You can tell him you like him. You can ask when you're going to see him next. I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. But it's true. Sorry, Rocco wants some love today. But it's true that all of those things, healthy things, will scare off the wrong man. And I know, look, girls, ladies listening, I've done that too, where I feel like as soon as I save a guy's number in my phone or I tell my friend about him, something goes wrong. I don't know why that happens. I think it's just God, the universe, whoever's way of preventing us from getting way too attached. Rocco clearly wants to be in on this episode. He's got some thoughts. When it comes to dating, I think there's one important thing to remember, and it's that you can't spell next without X. And unfortunately, heartbreak, going through different guys, it's part of life. It's part of figuring out, what do I want for my life and for my relationship? What do I want all of that to look like? So you can't spell next without X. And another thing that I've learned too, and I think we all need to remember that if anybody, not just men, if anybody wants to cheat, they are going to cheat. No amount of you going through their phone, being anxious, anything like that, like panicking, just being controlling, whatever. None of that is going to stop them from cheating. I've watched two of my closest friends get cheated on lately, literally within the past 2 months. Two of my closest friends, both who are baddies, got cheated on by men who never deserved them. You've heard from both of them on this podcast, Hope and Haley. Both of them got cheated on. They're incredible women. It's hard to believe that somebody would do that to them. But at the end of the day, the truth will always come out. And so if you know your worth, and I'm so proud of how they both handled those situations. They were cool, calm, and collected. They kept themselves composed. They just stuck to the facts. They didn't cry. They didn't flip the fuck out. They remained composed, and both men didn't know what the fuck to do with themselves. And if Hope's ex is listening, I know you love to call me a little man hater, but the thing I've learned when men call me a man hater, it's that it's always the insecure men who don't like to be held accountable who think I'm a man hater. Because here's the thing, I don't hate men. I hate shitty men. I hate toxic men. And I don't even hate them. I just feel sorry for them. And I feel sorry for them because there is clearly a wound there that they haven't healed, that they can't face. And so what do? They attack women. So, you had a problem, buddy, with Hope not tagging you on social media. Maybe I should just tag you myself in this podcast, give you that little social media shout out that you want. Anyways, okay, I'm done being petty now. Done being petty, but here's the thing. When it comes to dating and this whole idea of losing the wrong guy in 10 days, what do you want? Do you want a boyfriend? Do you want to be loved, or do you just want to be lusted after? And I'm not saying that in the uber Jesus freak way, culty way of, whatever. I mean that sincerely, because when it comes to dating apps and dating in general, I think a lot of women feel like if they don't have multiple guys who are interested in them, pursuing them, they're not worthy of love for some reason. Or same thing, if you're not getting as many matches on the dating apps, they think, oh, I must be ugly or not fun. What, do you want love, or do you want to be lusted after? Because if anything, I've kind of realized fewer matches on my dating profile actually just means I'm weeding out the guys that aren't attracted to me, just want sex, whatever it is. We wouldn't be compatible. You heard me talk about in the episode with Alana Dunn, how I always put a bikini picture on my profile. I know a lot of people say not to do that, but I do it because it weeds out the guys who will be disgusting and disrespectful. And it also, yes, it does give me great podcast content. I've read some of those comments on here before, but it's true. Those are guys, I want to weed them out really quickly. And so throwing that blanket over there. So I think that you need to ask yourself, do you really want to be loved, or do you just want to be lusted after? Because here's the thing, attention isn't love, it's lust. Attachment, that's not connection. Bare minimum is not putting in effort. All of those things are so mistaken in modern dating because women have been conditioned to accept less than they deserve. The only thing you need to be in dating is yourself, and you need to stop trying to be perfect and start being yourself. And I've literally said this time and time again, but you know when a guy is not right for you. Your body, your mind, your heart is telling you when this guy is not right for you. There are clear-cut signs typically. Prime example, there is just nobody busier than somebody who is not interested in you. If a man, and not even just a man, anybody in dating, if they are not actively making time to see you, they're not that interested in you. You are not their priority. They may like you, they may want to get to know you, but you're simply not their priority. And you want somebody who is going to prioritize your connection, even if it's, hey, I have a busy 2 weeks coming up. I know I've got this date free at this time in 2.5 weeks. Can we put that on the calendar? It's really not that hard. And if that is a communication style you want, you need to communicate that to whoever you are getting to know. We are overcomplicating dating so freaking much because at the end of the day, you don't want to spend the rest of your life with every man under the sun. You want to spend the rest of your life with one person. So why are you worried about freaking Brad and Chad who only hit you at 2 a.m. saying you up? That's not your future husband. Your future husband is probably not going to send you a you up text, and that's the only time you hear from him. He might send you one of those texts in the beginning, but that's not going to be the only time you hear from him. And I want, for the women who have been chronically single, if you've been single for a couple of years, just like me, I want you to remember that your singleness is not a result of who you are as a person. Sure, you may have some things to work on. You may have unhealed wounds, all that stuff. But we currently live in a society that has no consequences for terrible men. Literally look around. Look at who's the fucking president. We have no consequences for men right now. It is atrocious. And so you need to remember, your singleness is not a consequence of who you are. And before I go into boundaries to set in dating and all of these things, I want to remind women that when you are dating someone, they should not feel so comfortable disrespecting you. And if you call out any disrespect, whether it was meant or not, they should be reciprocal and understanding and hear you out of why your feelings are hurt. No man should ever feel comfortable disrespecting you. And if you're staying with a man who is actively disrespecting you, if you are staying with a man who is your project and not your piece, you need to take a good hard look in the mirror and ask yourself why you are putting up with that treatment. I swear the best thing I ever did for myself was asking myself that very same question. And now here we are 3 years later, and the answer to that question is a big part of why I'm still single, because I worked on myself and now I will never, ever, ever settle for less than I deserve ever again. Doesn't mean I don't have fun dating. Doesn't mean I don't put myself out there and try. There has been no man that I have met who I felt like could give me what I wanted out of life and would be in addition to the life that I've built for myself. And that is such a peaceful place to have gotten to. So answering the question, how do you lose the wrong guy in 10 days? And the answer is simple. You lose the wrong guy by knowing what you actually want and having strong boundaries. Because here's the thing, you want a partner in life. You don't want a problem in life. Your partner should be your peace. Part of knowing what you want, you need to know what are your preferences versus what are non-negotiables, because they are actually different. A non-negotiable, that is your steadfast belief. Those are your morals and your ethics. Prime example for me, I will not date a guy if he is not pro-choice. I will not date a man that's not pro-choice. That is an absolute non-negotiable for me. I have to have that. Preference for me, I prefer somebody who has experienced certain hardships in life, who can understand what I've been through. I also prefer a man who has been in therapy or has gone to therapy. Non-negotiable, they have to be open to therapy. I can't be with a man who doesn't believe in therapy. Doesn't mean he has to have gone, but if he can see the value in therapy, that is important. See the difference? Preference, non-negotiable. Again, another big one, children. I see too many people getting married without having conversations about children, about finances, retirement, the big conversations that really do affect the rest of your life. If you know for a fact you do or don't want children, you're dating a guy that does or doesn't, and it doesn't align with you, what are we doing there? We're wasting our own time. Now, if they're open to it, okay, different story. But they're firm, no, I never want children, or I absolutely want children, and you're firm in yourself, That's not something you should compromise on. The non-negotiables are things that you should not have to compromise on in your relationship because they are that important to you. Preferences, absolutely you can compromise. Like, I'm sorry, wanting a guy that is 6'4", that is not a non-negotiable. Wanting a guy with tattoos, that is not a non-negotiable. If you make that a non-negotiable, please go to therapy, call your therapist. I can give you a recommendation and give you mine's number because those are absolutely not non-negotiables. There is nothing that will turn an emotionally unavailable man off more than a woman who knows herself and knows her boundaries. So all of this work that I talk about doing on myself and the work we do here on this podcast is to get to that place for you to find your best partner. And here's the thing too about dating. I can sit here and give you all of this dating advice. I can tell you what works for me. I am not an authority figure on any of this. I'm not a dating expert. I don't classify myself as a dating coach. Like, I think there is so much bad dating advice out there, and maybe you think some of the advice that I have given isn't that great, and that is okay. Take what you need from these conversations and leave what doesn't work for you. If you feel like a guy's not making time for you, but you want to give him another chance, be my guest. Communicate that to him. Like, don't just write somebody off if you have that strong feeling of it, because here's the thing about us as women. We will sit there and we will give people chance after chance until we finally hit our breaking point. And once we hit that breaking point, we are out. Don't know why we do it, but at the end of the day, no one can, like, you have to do what feels good to you. You have to stay true to your authentic self. And if giving that person a third chance is what's going to make you feel authentic to yourself, cool, great. But just remember that sometimes our type isn't actually our type. It's just our trauma. We are looking for our wounds in other people because we think if we can fix them, we'll somehow heal ourselves. I did that for so long in my last relationship. And it's crazy because a lot of the times too, we get turned off by the quote unquote nice guy. And I'm not talking about the guys who boast themselves as the nice guys. We all know those are usually the red flags. But the guy that feels boring to you, that you feel like the connection is just like, meh, it's fine. Keep getting to know him because you just never know when that connection is going to spark, and you just never know what could come of it. Prime example is Alana Dunn. She talked about how her first date with her husband, it was fine. It was nothing to write home about. And had she walked away from that date saying like, ugh, it was fine, there was no spark, like whatever, and just written him off, she wouldn't be married right now. So we need to stop. Also, this is another thing about the wrong guy. With the wrong guy, you're normally going to feel that really intense spark. It's going to feel like you've known this person your entire life sometimes. There's going to be passion. It's going to feel like you are on top of the world. I'm not saying that is inherently a bad thing, but normally that is not something to ignore either. You need to then pay attention, because is this person going to love bomb you? Is this person going to start gaslighting you? Like, those types of connections can very quickly turn toxic. I'm not saying that they always do, but when you feel that such intense connection with somebody, you also need to ask yourself, am I actually connecting with this person, or am I just chasing that feeling? And usually with the wrong guy, it is going to feel like sparks are flying and you're going to get those butterflies and all that stuff. It's going to be a roller coaster. Like, the wrong guy will make you feel like you're in a rom-com pretty much normally. And that is not a feeling we want at all in dating. If you truly have healed yourself and you are securely attached, you're also not going to want to play the matching energies game, right? You are just going to show up as your authentic self. Texted him, he texted you back and you saw it, you'll respond. You're not going to wait 2 hours because he took one. If, you enjoyed your date, you'll tell him, hey, I had a really nice time. We need to stop overthinking dating so much and just show up as ourselves. Just do what feels good for us in a healthy, secure way. Like, don't overthink every little thing, because if you find yourself doing that, you need to ask yourself, what about this connection is making me feel so unsafe, and second guess myself and question myself? Like, why am I so in my head about this connection? Is it because I genuinely really like them and I'm excited? Or is there something that is lacking in this connection that I'm searching for? Are they not, making the time for me? Are they kind of being avoidant? Like, whatever it is, ask yourself why you're trying to start playing these games, because that should tell you everything you need to know about the guy. So when it comes to boundaries we can set in dating, what are some healthy boundaries? Because we love boundaries in this house. I love a good boundary. I've had to set many in my life, especially as of late, which is very unfortunate. We don't have to talk about that today because I will probably start crying. Anyways, some boundaries in dating that we can set are, one is around communication. And also, before I even dive into what these boundaries are, I want to make it clear, you should not right off the bat, first, second date, be like, I need you to communicate to me this way. Don't like other girls' pictures, like, and like list all your boundaries. That's a lot. Okay. We don't do that, but communicate boundaries as things come up. Prime example, the first thing is just generally communication. Time and time again, texting and dating is a hot topic. And if you feel like the person you're talking to isn't quote unquote texting you enough, that's a sign to communicate it. Why? Get curious. Like, hey, I love talking to you multiple times a day. Do you not like texting? Whatever. I don't know. But if they say, you know what, I don't love being on my phone. What if we could do a phone call every evening? Or, boundaries should be communicated, and the person that you are communicating them to should be able to have a conversation with you about them. Because here's the thing, you can't just sit there and tell a guy, like, I need you to text me all day, every day. And if he says that doesn't work for him, and you flip the fuck out, that says more about you than about him. It really does, because you should also, it's really not healthy to talk to somebody all day, every day. But I digress. Texting and dating, that is a big boundary to set, or just communication in dating in general, boundary to set. There's physical boundaries you can talk about too. If you're not a physical touch person, the person you're dating is, communicate that. Hey, don't love holding hands, or don't love PDA, or I don't want to, they're trying to make a move to have sex. Hey, I don't want to go that quick. I really like to take it slow and be intentional. Cool, great. Again, if they don't reciprocate that, if they don't receive that well, that is not the right guy for you. Other boundaries are emotional boundaries. Like, I very much had a tendency in the past to just trauma dump on people, and especially in dating. And for me, it was always coming from a place of, I just wanted to be honest, and I wanted them to see my heart and, just understand where I come from with things. And I'm a very open book type of person, so I don't mind sharing, but to other people that is very intense and very off-putting. So having emotional boundaries around what you're going to share when is super important. If someone asks you a question and you don't feel comfortable telling that story yet, just be honest with that. And if they get turned off by that and they're like, oh, you don't trust me, that's a red flag. And vice versa. If you're wanting to tell them about things and they say, you know what, I'm not in a place to hear that, whatever, emotional boundaries are really hard, but they are important, especially in those early stages of dating, because if you're anything like me, when I open up to people and share my story, I start to get attached. And I think that's something that caused me to get hurt in the past, because I would get so attached so quickly because I was opening up and we were opening up and sharing really deep personal things about ourselves. And it was the wrong time to be doing that. The next thing is social media boundaries. Oh my God. We've seen this time and time again. Oh, he's liking girls' pictures. He's following girls on social media. I don't care what your boundaries are around those things, so long as you communicate them. Because here's the thing. If you notice the guy you're dating is liking a bunch of girls' thirst traps and that bothers you, you should be able to communicate that to him. Hey, don't love that behavior. And here's a message to the men. I see so many guys justifying that behavior still. Literally, why? Why does it mean so much to you to need to be following a bunch of random girls, liking a bunch of random girls' bikini photos, commenting on them? Why does it mean so much to you? And again, that's probably a wound on their part that they want that attention and validation from this girl, whatever it is. They're idealizing her, they're sexualizing her, whatever it is. But if you're a woman who those things really bother you, that is a boundary you need to stay firm to. I'm not going to sit here and say whether or not it's controlling or it's insecure behavior, whatever it is. That is not for me to say at all. I know what my boundaries are around those things, but so long as you can communicate yours in a healthy and effective way, the right guy is not going to get defensive. He's not going to attack you. The right guy is going to hear and see your boundaries and have a conversation with you about them. And another thing about boundaries too is like the right guy is going to find your boundaries attractive. He is going to say, wow, this girl knows herself and she knows what she's worth. He's not going to take it as a challenge. He's not going to use it to pick fights. Like that is just such toxic behavior. Like the right guy will absolutely respect your boundaries. And with dating too, and you know, the losing the wrong guy thing, I say losing the wrong guy because obviously a lot of women have that scarcity mindset of, oh my God, but like, things are going so well, but there's these things I don't like, but like, what if there's nobody else? And here's the thing, you always hear that saying, there's plenty of fish in the sea. You know, there's more guys out there. Yes, there's absolutely more fish in the sea, but some of them are anchovies. Not every guy is a tuna or a salmon. Some of them are fucking anchovies. They're just, you know, bottom feeders. Okay. And I know a lot of women think if they have one guy that is pretty decent, they're scared to go keep looking. But at the end of the day, you know the right guy is out there. You know your lobster is out there. If we want to pull a Friends reference, I love that show. If you guys didn't know, like I can probably quote every single Friends episode ever. It's like really bad. It's like my like background noise show. My old roommate Hannah, she literally, my mom was here and that was our comfort show. And Hannah was here for Easter and we had it on. And she was just like, wow, it feels like I'm still living with Meg. If anybody knows me, you know how much I love and adore the show Friends. But anyways, tangent. But the right guy, like you should not let the fear of being single or not finding somebody keep you in the wrong situationship, relationship, whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, like, what does that say about you? What does it say about what you think about yourself if you are actively staying in something that you know isn't for you? Is it that you think you're not worthy of a healthy relationship? Is it you think you're not worthy of that kind of love? Because love shouldn't cost you your sense of self. Love shouldn't cost you your identity. That is not love at all in the slightest. And sometimes the biggest test of strength is knowing when to walk away. And that is absolutely how you can lose the wrong guy, is knowing your worth and just knowing to walk away. Knowing when to say, this isn't my person. Knowing when to say, listen to your body and listen to your mind. Knowing when to listen to that intuition telling you something isn't right. Knowing when to walk away is a tried and true test of strength and test of knowing oneself. And with losing the wrong guy, I want to talk a little bit about hookup culture too, because I wish somebody had told me when I was younger that it is okay to not want to buy into hookup culture. I obviously for most of college was in a relationship. And then my senior year, I was single and I dove into hookup culture and I did not feel good about it. There are so many, like I had my fun, yes, but there were a lot of men who didn't deserve me and didn't deserve my body. And again, I'm not saying this in the like weird prude Christian way of whatever, like do whatever feels right for you. So long as you can acknowledge why you're hooking up with somebody. Is it you just want to have a fun time or are you looking for validation in them? And it is a very fine line between that. Because another thing about hookup culture is a lot of the times we will let men disrespect us. And I will never forget my senior year of college, one of the men who I finally stood up to disrespect. And I was so proud of myself for this moment. My senior year, we'll call him Marine Man. I was hooking up with this guy. I wanted nothing to do with him. This man literally told me he loved me. I was like, no. To make the long story short, I found out this man had not one, not two, but 3 girlfriends, a wife and a baby. Typical military guy, right? And so it's senior year. I am not speaking to him. By the way, his old roommate is one of my best friends, still one of my best friends to this day. And we're at the back of the bar, the Lucy's, and I've had one too many tequila shots. Tequila Meg was out that night. And this man had the nerve to come up to me and be like, why do you hate me? Oh, that was the wrong moment to do that. He's like, why do you hate me? Blah, blah, blah. I found out earlier that day about the child and I had the picture of the kid on my phone and I whipped it out because also backtracking, I found out he was telling one of the girlfriends that I was fat, I was a whale, I meant nothing to him, I was a fat piece of shit. And I didn't care that he was saying those things, but it's just like, you're still trying to get with me and telling me you love me and want to be with me while you have a couple girlfriends. Are we collecting women? I don't know. But I was fed up. So I whipped out the picture of the kid and I go, is this your daughter? That man went white as a ghost. And I looked him dead in the eyes and I go, I hope when she's my age, she doesn't meet a man just like you who treats her the exact same way. I swear that man was seeing red. And Luke and my friend, his roommate, was bouncing that night and watching this happen. And he's like, I can see he's on edge. And I looked at this guy. By the way, he's like 6'3", I'm 5'4". And I'm looking up at him. I go, you want to hit me right now, don't you? I was like, I fucking dare you. It's like, I fucking dare you to try me right now. And I go, by the way, and at the end of that conversation, he was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I was like, by the way, the only thing fat about me is my ass, and that's with a PH. And I just walked away and I go up to my friend and he goes, I really thought I was gonna have to pull him off of you. I go, you still might. But all that to say, like, as funny as that story is, like, I should have never tolerated the disrespect from that man as long as I did. Even though I was just hooking up with him, like, he still owed me decent respect. And he owed the girls that thought they were dating him respect. Like, men like that will never change. Later, I found out he ended up catching a DV charge. Shocker. But all of that to say, when it comes to hookup culture, a lot of the times it is a fine line between disrespecting ourselves and just, being empowered. And that line is so thin. And really what it comes down to is, how do you feel when you're doing these actions? Like, are you looking to hook up with guys because you need the validation, you're insecure, you think you're only worth something when a man finds you attractive, or is it because you just genuinely want to have fun? That is it. Hookup culture is very, very toxic. Yes, absolutely. We can all agree on that. And I wish I had somebody tell me when I was younger that you do not have to buy into it if you do not want to. And if you do buy into it, to please not only, of course, practice safe sex, but pay attention to why you're buying into it. Pay attention to how you're feeling afterwards. Pay attention to your confidence and your self-esteem and all your mental health and all these things, because at the end of the day, like, the amount of times I've heard my girlfriend say, like, yeah, the sex wasn't the best, but like, at least he respected me. Why is that even a thought? Like, oh yeah, I'll keep hooking up with him because he at least respects me. Insane behavior. But we do it as women time and time again because we equate respect as, like, we put it on the pedestal, but it's the bare minimum. If you're getting naked for a guy, if you are literally showing him your birthday suit, he should at bare minimum respect you. And again, I'm not saying this in like trying to be like this weird, preachy, like Christian way thing, but I'm just so serious. Like, as I've gotten older, the amount of guys who literally never respected me and I still slept with them is insane. And it was because I didn't know myself and I didn't have confidence. So work on yourself, work on your confidence so you don't settle for these like little boys who, one, can't even find the you know what and don't know how to get you off, but also are just gonna not be respectful. I'm on one today. I don't freaking know, guys. And with all of this, we wonder why you've got the rise of lonely single men. I'm sure you all have seen on social media the Scott Galloway episode of Diary of a CEO. And I'm not going to talk too much about it. I think it is definitely a worthwhile listen, but something that stuck out to me and stuck out to, frankly, a lot of people is that somehow women are still being blamed for the failings of men. We're seeing that in the headlines of the rise of lonely single men, and, the women are they're blaming women for the downfall of the nuclear home and why marriage rates are on the decline, why birth rates are on the decline. The thing is, it really isn't like, this is a men's issue. Women want to get married. Women want to have babies. Not all of them, but a good chunk do, but they can't because we live in a patriarchal society that is standing in our way. We have men who are not willing to evolve what the role of provider and what the meaning of masculinity is. We are like the prime difference is men dream of building a family like their fathers and grandfathers built, and women dream of building a life like anything but the ones their mothers and grandmothers had. And that is such a clear disconnect. And the only way to bridge the gap is for men to meet women where they are and start having the hard conversations that they don't want to hear. We have men who are so emotionally just stunted and emotionally unavailable that it's not shocking that we're seeing these things right now. Because here's the thing, women have continued to support each other. Women have helped heal each other in ways like men never have. Women have healed the wounds that other men have caused for each other. That is why you see female friendship and girlhood and all these things so celebrated, because it is such a special thing. And of course, men just have boys will be boys. And the difference is insane. And in the Diary of a CEO episode, Scott Galloway talks about how men endlessly swipe on dating apps, and it's like this, all these women are competing for the same small pool of men. And the thing is, the number one thing I've realized is most women say they want an ambitious man, and men don't understand what they mean by ambition. Ambition isn't just about finances. It's not just about having 6 figures in the bank. It really isn't. Ambition is about, what are you passionate about in life? What do you want in life? I can date a man who makes less than me so long as he has goals and dreams and ambitions and he's trying to make something of himself. I don't want to be the only one that has passions and hobbies in the relationship, because at the end of the day, I've been in a relationship like that. That person will always start to resent you for your ambitions, your passions, your hobbies, and they will try and bring you down for them. A lack of ambition, to me, I think it will always breed resentment in a relationship down the line. And to me, it also screams emotional unavailability. It can be a sign to me of emotional unavailability. It doesn't always mean that, but I think it can be a good indicator of that, because ambition requires you to sit with yourself and know yourself at the end of the day. If you guys want me to do more of a deep dive on the Scott Galloway episode, let me know, shoot me a DM, leave a comment. Like, there is so much I could say about that episode, but I thought it was important to bring up in this conversation of how to lose the wrong guy in 10 days because of all of the things that we have already discussed. And the last thing I want to talk about with losing the wrong guy is, I think a lot of women, they always feel like, oh, did I make the right choice? Like, or they idealize a situationship or old connection that they have. I talked about this before, how I went back to a connection I had earlier this year and I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Because here's the thing, a lot of the times and I've even gone back to my ex. Like, I've talked about this before on the podcast, how many times I went back to him. And what I realized is, we don't want our exes back. You don't want your ex back. The problem is, at the end of the day, your life just sucks. Something is missing from your life. And sure, yes, people can get back together, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, most of the time, I don't think you actually want them back. I think that your life just sucks. They were a distraction from the parts of yourself that you didn't like. And now you have to actually sit with yourself and figure your shit out. Because think about it. If you're so busy trying to fix them and people please them and be the person that you think that they want you to be so that they'll love you, you're not looking in the mirror and paying attention to the parts of yourself that you don't like and need to work on. And when you lose them, you can no longer hide from those parts of yourself. So at the end of the day, losing them isn't the reason you feel empty. Losing them is the thing that finally forced you to look in the mirror and face the parts of yourself that you don't like. And if you lean into it, you'll be able to heal those wounds and work on yourself. And you'll be able to build this life that you don't need to hide from. Because at the end of the day, the best revenge that anyone can get after a breakup is getting your spark back, moving on, and building a life that your ex will never be a part of, and building yourself up so much that they can never touch you again and they are no longer worthy of you. That is the absolute best revenge anybody can ever take after a breakup. I want us all to remember that it should absolutely be an honor and a privilege for somebody to love you. The person that you end up with is going to feel so lucky that you are their partner. They are going to be screaming how much they love you from the rooftops. And it may not be the love that you thought you would have. It may not be the partner you envisioned for yourself, but you absolutely should have an open mind and an open heart to connections that you wouldn't have otherwise pursued. Because remember, your type isn't your type. It's just your trauma. And absolutely, the right guy will feel honored to love you. But yeah, so that is how to lose the wrong guy in 10 days, is to make a long story short, just knowing yourself and having boundaries. I guess I didn't need to do a whole episode on this. I'm just kidding. I hope you guys liked this episode of Not the Girl Next Door podcast. I am your host, Meg Reynolds. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review wherever you are listening. Please, please, please. It helps out so much in spreading the word, also engaging with our content. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. You can just search Not the Girl Next Door podcast. You'll find us. Or all of the links are over on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok, it's just my name, Meg Reynolds 21. And the Instagram is at Not the Girl Next Door podcast. And that is all for this week's episode. I will see you guys really soon for another one. Bye for now.